Hi, FlossTubers. I'm Leanne.
I'm Jeannie.
And we're the Loose Thread Stitchers. Go ahead.
Okay. I was to say we're from East Central Minnesota. And this is about cross-stitching, quilting, and a little punch needle, maybe some applique.
So we thought we would start today with some of our whips. Jeannie didn't bring any today, so I guess I'll show you my whips. I decided this year I would try WhipGo, and this is my WhipGo sheet. And the first 10 days I was working on the Brick House Sampler, and I picked it to work on for 10 days, and I did complete my 10 days.
So there's 2 projects a month for WhipGo?
Yes.
And you're working on them 10 days each?
Yes.
Then what do you do with the rest of the month?
I am going to work on kind of whatever I want to work on, or pick one of these 2 up again.
Okay.
What I was hoping with my extra days is to pick up maybe some pin keeps, some smaller things, to try to get some little pin keeps for my dough bowls and stuff.
Okay.
That was my thought. We'll see. But this is, here's the Brick House Sampler. It's by Brenda Gervais. And this is how far I got on my 10 days, was that. And I am doing this on 40 count antique lace.
Wow, 40 count.
Yep, 40 count.
With what kind of threads?
The called for threads. All of the threads are the called for threads. And then my next 10 days, I picked up, it's called Quaker Bells from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. And this has 3 colors, and they're all silk, so I thought it was a good opportunity to try my silks. And this is as far as I've gotten. I'm still working in my 10 days, but this is how far I've gotten with them.
How do you like silks?
I think everybody talks about them. I like them, but to me, it seems like even though the single thread, it's twisted with other thread too, it just, to me, seems like it loosens. I don't know if it's just the skeins I got, but I do love the variegation. There's 3 variegations, and I love the variegations of it.
So now this one's going to be up by the end of the week, right? So then you can do...
Then the rest of the month I have about a week where I can do... I thought I would do a couple of pin keeps. I thought maybe one Christmas one fall one, just to kind of get some seasonal things going. Both Jeannie and I are quilters. We have been. I've been a quilter for 37 years.
And I've been quilting since my adult boys were babies, and they're in their 40s.
So instead of buying project bags, we make project bags. And we'll talk more about that when we get into the quilting segment. But I just thought I'm going to show you bags as I show you my whips. And these weren't bought. I've made these. So
according to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch tutorials.
Yes. Her tutorials are wonderful. They're absolutely great. So my Quaker Bells, I keep, it's vintage snowmen. I found the fabric at one of our quilt stores, and I just made this bag. And Jeannie likes handles, so I do make some handles, and some bags I don't have handles. I put a little tag on for the name of the thing, and then I always put a little doohickey thing on there.
Bling. Gotta have bling.
Yeah, and that's a little pinwheel. So that's what I did with that bag. Then the bag that I have my sampler in, the Brick House Sampler, is Quilted Barns.
You made me one of those for my birthday.
I did. Okay, so then another whip I have going is from Stacy Nash. It's called the Rose Cottage Sampler. There, is that better?
Mm-hmm.
It's on Confederate Gray. This one's really crinkly, but that's how far I got on that. And this I tried to do the Mania thing in May. I'm not a Mania person. I can't do it. So WhipGo is really good. See, I'm still trying to find my rhythm in this again. I used to cross stitch in the 80s and 90s, and then I gave it up for quilting. And this last year is when I got back into cross stitch, and I kind of dragged her with me.
I wasn't kicking or screaming though.
No. And Carol from the Saltbox Stitcher, I started watching her FlossTubes, and boy, oh boy, that took me down the rabbit hole real quick. And I really do want samplers in my home. We have antiques and stuff in our home, so samplers would fit really well, and that's what got me going. And then I told her to watch good old Carol, and here we are. We're kind of partners in crime. And so for the cottage sampler, this is the bag I made. It has little irons on it. And again, it's kind of a vintage bag. And then I did start a Christmas start, and that is the Christmas garden. Blackbird Designs. It has 4 colors in it. I'm doing mine on antique lace. Antique lace, 40 count, and I really do love antique lace. I just like it. This is all the further I got on it before I had to put it away to start Whipco. But I changed all 4 colors. It called for Calico Kitty, and I'm using cherry bark. And then it called for heirloom gold, and I switched it to roasted chestnut. And then it called for fool's gold, and I switched it to old oak tree. And it called for endive, and I switched it to English ivy, because I wanted my colors a little darker.
And really rich looking.
Yeah, it was too faded for me. I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm feeling it now. It's really good. I like it. And so that one I made a bag that has, again, it's the Barnes Snow Christmassy. There's a little truck and a sleigh.
And a handle.
Yep, and a handle. Okay, I think for right now that's all the whips I have.
I do have one whip with, and you have the same whip. We're doing stitch along between the two of us and a good friend of ours, Julie. Our lasting friendship, is it? Yes. Blackbird Design?
Yes, it is.
So, I am an Ada stitcher. So, I'm doing mine on 18 count antique white, I think. And
you got far.
That's as far as beautiful. I am.
That's beautiful.
And we are doing a thread conversion.
Yes, from Lori Holt. She put a thread conversion on one of her videos. I think she changed, I can tell you, she changed 4 colors. And if you go check on one of her videos, Laura was doing it too, and asked Lori, Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter, asked Lori to kind of change out some of the colors, so Lori did. And so Laura was very nice to give me the conversion, but if you need the conversion, you can check with Lori Holt's video. It's out there. And mine is on the called for, which is 36 count legacy. And this is, I'm like Carol, I kind of like to do my borders first. It just kind of gives me a good place to start, and it kind of compresses things. It's easier to count then. I just feel like I've got a border in there, and it's just easier to keep going then.
Well, that way too, if we go thrift shopping, you can look for a frame. You know the dimensions.
Right, I do, because then you kind of know what it's going to be when it's done.
Yep.
Did I show the picture? Here's the picture of what the pattern is.
And this is the bag I made to house mine in.
And this is the bag that I made to house mine in. And our other friend, Julie, she bought me this panel. It's all the alphabet. And so I'll be making more panels with the rest of them, but this is the first one I made. Okay, so finishes. You have finishes. I don't have any finishes. I've been doing this for a year and I've got no finishes. Except for one.
That's a fully finished.
Yeah, you'll see that.
Okay. I did a quick Leaping Stag by Threadwork Primitives. And it will make a nice little ornament. And then I did...
Do you want to tell them what fabric it's on?
Oh, yeah. It's called for threads, and it is on 16 count Country French Cafe Mocha. Because I'm an Ada stitcher. Okay, so then I did this one here. Carriage House Designs reindeer feed sack. And this fabric, I went online to get, on Etsy, to get a check or plaid check, I suppose. And I found this one, but it's all in Russian. I don't know what it would be or what it means, but this is how it turned out. Now I'm going to make it into a bag.
That's so cute.
So, and then my favorite is the Farmhouse Christmas. And I did this on 18 count vintage country mocha with the called for over dye threads. So there she is.
That's absolutely beautiful.
It's the biggest one I've done and I love it. So those are my finishes so far this year. So now we have fully finishes.
Yes, we do.
And you have one. It's mine though. It's mine.
I gave it to her for her birthday. This is the very first thing I started cross-stitching when I picked up cross-stitching again because I wanted to make it for her birthday. And it's called A Token for a Friend. It's a blackbird design, I think. And it there's another pillow you can make that goes on this side, or you can make it one long thing. But I made this for her birthday.
Fully finished.
Yes. It's my only one and only fully finished, and I gave it away.
It lives at my house.
Yes, it lives at her house. Now, yesterday was my birthday, and so she gave me this. Isn't that cute? It's just so cute. So I have something fully finished for my house, and she put the ticking on the back, and it's very, very cute.
That's a free Valentine chart. I don't remember.
It's very cute.
And just kind of, I don't know what. It was a piece of 8 I had that was the right size.
It's very, very cute. I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
And then I finished the Prairie Schooler, A Prairie Year, February. And just the floss from my stash, it's DMC, and some more Phantom Ada. But it's a pillow. So that's it for fully finishes.
Yep, fully finishes are done. We live about an hour away from our local cross-stitch store, and that name is Stitchville, USA, in case anybody's wondering. We do travel around a bit, and we've been trying to find more cross-stitch stores. Like next week, whenever we have a birthday, we go on a little birthday trip, and it's either a one-day trip or it can be an overnighter. So next week, Wednesday and Thursday, we're doing an overnighter, and we're going to hit some quilting stores. And like there's a Welcome Stitchery that moved from Brenda and Laura's spot.
Illinois, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she's here now. So we're going to go visit her. This will be our second visit to her. There's one in Osage, Iowa called the Stitchery Nook. That one's very nice. We like that one a lot.
That's about 3 hours from here?
Yeah, about 2 hours, 45 minutes. And then there's one in Wisconsin we've gone to called the Needle Workshop. She has a quilt store. That's very convenient for us because the left side is a quilt store. The right side is a cross-stitch store. So it's pretty good for both.
Wausau? Is that Wausau?
Yeah, Wausau. Yep, it is. And then we are about 4 hours away from the Country Sampler. And we've been there a few times now. That's a very nice store. Again, quilting and cross stitch. So kind of covers both of our likes. We also, JJ Stitches is really close to that, which is a quilting store with beautiful Civil Wars. I love Civil War fabric, which you'll see when we get to the quilting section. But that area there is very nice for going to visit.
Yes.
So I guess now we'll move on to quilting, yes? We're kind of done with
unless we want to show more of our we got some examples of our project bags.
Yes. When we go traveling, we also go to antique stores, we go to thrift stores. And what I do and Jeannie do is we find I can kind of show you here. Like embroidered, like this is a table
topper, dresser, scarf. Or,
yeah, there's two sides. You know, it's long. If I open it up,
yeah,
it's long.
hand embroidered and or crocheted
Okay,
edge.
this was I found at an antique store and it was $3. So what I do is I cut those up and I turn them into a bag.
Repurpose at its best.
Yes. This example is one. It was actually a card table cover, and in each corner it has these guys playing cards, and it has like a spade, a diamond, a heart. But this is what I did with it. This is one corner, so I still have 3 corners to come up with an idea to cut out. But this was in mint condition, and I cut it up for a bag.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a little hint. When you're buying these things and the people at the cash register are all excited you're buying these things, don't tell them you're cutting them up because they won't be happy with you. So just, yes, I collect these. This is what I like. So,
and you're going to use them.
Yeah, and you are using them.
But, well, and sometimes they're stained.
Yes. So sometimes you have to cut away parts and try to figure out. This was another table scarf that I made into a bag. They're just so dang cute. How can you not do something with them? I mean, they're just sitting there, and they're anywhere from $1 to $3.
Here's one that I made, and I got this down in Walnut, Iowa. So then on the way home, we hit some quilt shops, and I got Iowa fabric that matched. So,
this was a thrift store find. It was $1, and it's cross stitched, and I had to take it home and do something with it. So I made a bag. Is that just not the cutest spread? This was $1, and somebody cross stitched this. It was totally. I mean, it was a finish. It wasn't fully finished, so I just brought it home and put it in a bag. It's so cute.
It lives on.
Yes, it does. It's one of my favorites. And this one I just made last night. I was born on a Friday, so this is a Friday's child. And she's so cute because she's holding a kitten and she has a little baby bottle in her hand. So I had to make that. And this was on one of those cotton dishcloths.
Flour sacks.
Yeah, flour sack. It was just one corner, so.
But not only flour sack dishcloths or dresser scarves or runners, there are some pot holders.
Oh, yeah, the pot holder. Here, it was a wool pot holder, and she found it at the antique store, and she wasn't going to buy it, and I had to take it home.
Leanne was already checking out.
Yeah, I was, and she found it, and it's wool. It's all wool, and it's like double layered, and this is like the cutest thing I have ever seen. It is just amazing to me, and it is so dang cute. I mean, how can you not like that?
And she's got a handle.
It is so cute. And then this one again was one of those towels. It's a Halloween towel.
That's cute.
Yep. And I just made it into a bag. They're just so much fun. I guess because I'm a quilter, I find this fun. This is fun.
Well, what's interesting now is when we go to quilt stores, Leanne just doesn't look for Civil War anymore. She looks for fabric to buy for project bags.
Yeah, because most of my fabrics are Civil War, so it's kind of funny to see me going to the
novelty section.
Yeah, I do. I go to the novelties, and they're all laughing at me, but I gotta have it to match my vintage things I find. And this one was a pillowcase. This is as wide as the pillowcase was, and I just couldn't cut off her skirt, so I made the bag as wide as her dresses, and it is just amazing. It's just, and I still have one more pillowcase to do, so I just left her little ruffles all nice and loose. It's so cute. I just love these. So when you pull out a project, you get to kind of hug your bag too, because they're so much fun. And this one I just started working on last night. So I cut the pillowcase. Here's the pillowcase. And then I'm going to put it on this red fabric, and I think this bag I'm going to put it up at the top.
And you're going to leave the crochet edge.
Yes, I'm going to leave the crochet edge. And then the other back of the pillowcase has that crochet edge too. So I don't know if I'm going to run that across the top up here also. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but that I'm thinking about.
Making these bags cuts into the quilting time.
And the cross stitch time. I try to start out my night quilting because I come down to sew at about 6:37. And then I usually sew until about 9, and then from about 9 to midnight I cross stitch. That's kind of my, that's kind of what I do every night. Okay, so for quilting, another thing I'm doing is you always have some kind of handwork you're working on in quilting. And these are hexagons. I've started a quilt with hexagons. And I've got all of the stars. These are the stars. And you hand sew them all together, and you can see I still have the papers on the edges. But every star is different. So like there's that star. Here's a star. You don't have to hold on. Here's a star. I try to take all my colors and kind of blend them, make them, I kind of start with the middle and add a color that matches, has that color in the middle, and then I add a color on, you just keep going.
And you use a type of glue too for your applique on these, don't you?
I do. I use that, it comes on a stick. I have this bag I keep it in.
Your traveling bag.
Yeah, it's my traveling bag, so then you can just pick it up and take it with you. And I try to I sit for a night and do all of the hexies. This is the pattern.
There's as much in the prep work as there are in...
Yeah, there is. There is. This is what the pattern is called. It's called Stars in the Garden 2 by Yellow Creek Quilt Designs. Say that.
You've been working on that for a few years,
yeah,
haven't you?
A few years. Because I usually only work on it when we go on our little trips. I'll take it with because it's something easy to grab. And
we had started out probably, what did we figure out, 15, 16 years ago with our quilting group. And at that time, our quilting group was called the Loose Threads. And that's kind of disbanded because of COVID, and we had a death of a prominent partner in it. And so now we kind of refer to ourselves as the Loose Thread Stitchers. But when we do our little outings and things, we just had told the family the threads are on the loose.
Yeah.
So
we figure now when we travel a little bit, we'll kind of take you on our travels with us, and we'll label it Threads on the Loose, so you'll know that we're out and about doing something. Yes. But this bag has some pockets in it, and so what I do is I have 2 or 3 of the, I either do stars or these hexagons, and so they're all ready to go. All I have to do is stitch them together. So everything is kind of, here's like the glue I use.
Well, and with road trips, I do not do well in a car, so I cannot do handwork. So if I'm driving, they better be stitching.
And I do stitch, unless I have to help her navigate, because we went to Houston one year, which is hilarious, but we went down to the big show in Houston, and when we got close to Houston, you had to really pay attention to what was going on her phone, because it looked like Spaghetti Junction on there. So we were both trying to navigate. So I do help her navigate when I need to, but when I know it, when it says we're 2 hours, blah, 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 I start stitching. So these are the other hexagons. So see, there's a star. You have to make a bunch of these, and then now I'm on these. These are what I'm on. And then you put them together, and you make a quilt. So you'll see that off and on as I go through. And these are kind of nice because you only have to pick 3 colors, and then that outer color is kind of, they kind of call it the road or whatever. That's consistent throughout the whole quilt. So, and again, I do just all different colors, whatever color.
You buy the little paper hexies?
Yeah, these are 1/2 inch paper hexies from Paper Pieces, if anybody's done them, but they're 1/2 inch. And you keep the paper on till that whole piece is covered. Once it's all covered with another fabric, then you can take the paper out. That's why the center is all, there's no paper in there, because it's totally encased with fabric and sewed. And this is all hand sewed. So I just take my thread and needle and stitch away. That's what I do. And then I like to do small quilts.
With small pieces.
I love
very small pieces.
Love small pieces. More pieces, the better.
The smaller, the better.
This one is from Primitive Gatherings, and it has wool in the middle. I don't know the name of the pattern right now. I mean, if somebody really wants to know, I'll try to dig it out. But I made this a few years ago, and so I tried to find the pattern real quick, but I couldn't find it. But I'm sure if I dig, I'll find it. That's the way it is. And this quilt I made just a couple years ago. And this is not paper pieced. I did this and it's in I get these magazines. They're not in print anymore. They're called miniature quilts. And if you see, it's on the cover right here. And they're all different months. And this one we figured out was April, May, or March, April.
Yeah,
May.
somewhere in the spring of.
It says display until 5/6 of 2003 down here. And it is issue number 65, if that helps anybody. But you can get them, I order them off of Amazon or eBay. And you just look for Miniature Quilts magazine, or you can even put in miniature quilts, because there's books. I have books with miniature quilts too. So
do you know what's in the magazine other than what's on the cover when you buy it?
No. And there's more than what's on the cover, but most of the time when you go into Amazon and stuff, they don't let you look through the magazine, so you kind of got to go by what you see on the cover. And when I saw this on the cover, I knew I wanted to make it, so I did. You're kind of taking a chance if there's not something on the cover you like, but it has, I mean, there's just lots of little quilts, and they give you the patterns for them.
Do the prices vary for the magazines?
Yeah, some of them I can get for a couple bucks. Some of them, you know, if they know they're popular, they can go up to like $10. They aren't any. I don't think I've spent more than $5 for one of these.
Well, what would you pay for a pattern?
12?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you get lots of little quilts in here. It's fun. I mean, and if that's what you like to do. And this one I just finished last week. It's this one. And the pattern is by Pam Buddha. And it's in this book, Vintage Treasures. And there's some really cute other quilts. There's the back cover in here. So I tend to, if I'm going to buy a book, I have so many books now because we've been quilting for a long time. I don't buy a book unless I can find 2 or 3 patterns in the book that I would do. And this one has several really nice little quilts. I mean, there's several in here that I really like. So I'm excited to do some more of them. This one I just thought was kind of cute too. It has little tiny pinwheels in the sash. So that was cute. That's all I got, kiddo.
Oh, okay. This last year I have been in a housing transition. We sold our home of 30-some years last spring, and we were building. We moved in the week before Christmas. So I've been kind of going through quilt withdrawals. I guess that's why cross-stitching really filled in the voids. But I do have picked up a couple of these Moda Matchbox quilts. So everything you need to make these 2 little quilts.
I do like what they're doing now, where they give you these boxes with the whole kit in them.
Well, it even had the batting. And it did have floss to do hand quilting, but I was just on my machine and I just went through.
We both have our own quilting machines. They're both sit-down machines. I have a Bernina Q20. She has a Juki
2200.
Yeah. I had a Millennium APQS one where you move the head. You're sitting there moving the head. And I do so many small quilts, and I'm kind of a precision quilter. I like Jeannie can do more overall than I can. When I see borders and I see blocks, my brain automatically goes, do I have to live within those blocks? Whereas Jeannie goes, no way!
We can
just go all over the thing. And I was just having a lot of trouble moving that head to get into these little tiny little things I wanted to get into. So I was helping her look for a sit-down machine, and we were at a quilt show.
Paducah.
We'd driven down there. And I sat down at that Bernina Q20, and I mean, I literally had chills going up and down.
Yeah, there was a line waiting to sit down behind her.
I didn't want to leave it. It was just such a nice machine. So I was talking, she was taking a class. We went to the Doubletree and we were taking some quilt classes. And at the time I was still working, so I got there after work and I was waiting for her to get out of a class that we were both going to go to for the next class. And so I was talking to the Bernina lady selling this machine, and she says, oh yeah, you can just sell your Millennium, no problem. So she told me how to do it. I got online and I sold it. And so then I went and got my Bernina, and I love it. Its name is Bernie. It's such a cute, I just love it. It's just, I can't even describe it. It's just everything I want to do. I can get into small areas. It's just wonderful.
And you have done several king, right?
Yes, I've done. The very first thing on it was finishing a king-size quilt for my son. So, and it had been sitting on the Millennium for like 3 years.
It lived there.
It did. So I've done quite a few quilts since I got that machine, and I'm very happy with it. This one I quilted on the Bernina, on my Q20 on Bernie, and you can see all my little quilt patterns in there. It's just fun. I can control the fabric a lot better than I could control that head.
The head, yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Well, we went down to, there was a big antique flea market in Walnut, Iowa. Well, it's every year around Father's Day, and we went down last year, what was it, not quite 5-hour drive from here?
Yeah, right.
And I like to look for vintage quilt tops, and I found this one here. It's a bow tie pattern, and so the other day I got my Juki long arm going and just put a back on it and the batting in it and quilted it to kind of preserve it.
So now it will live on at Jeannie's house.
Yeah, go in. I got a few others that I have done, so I got a cabinet where I can display the vintage ones. So always on the lookout.
And we're going to be filming at each other's house, so you'll get to see her brand new house. And they took some of the doors and some of the stuff off of the century-old house. And she's got them in her house, and it's beautiful. So you'll get to see all of that. It's
a work in progress.
Yes, it is, because she just got to move in through COVID and everything. It's been a real thrill. But
yeah, a real thrill. Yeah.
So I think that's about it this time. We'll try to. We don't know how often we'll post yet. We're still working on this, so it's a work in progress. So we will, I guess, see you next time.
Yeah, I'm Jeannie.
And I'm Leanne. We're the Loose Thread Stitchers. So bye.
Bye.